Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and welcome to No Budget Reviews, the series where we go around the country finding cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and filming them with absolutely no money at all. So we have to use my phone, no microphones, no fancy DSLRs, nothing like that. Just good honest cars that you can buy for very little money and you can enjoy driving. Well, viewers, I've landed upon another classic 1990s Japanese car. This is a 1995 Honda Civic EG4 1.5 LSi. Sadly, this isn't the EG6 with the VTEC engine. This has a 1.5 litre D-series engine generating 90 horsepower, and it's an automatic. This car has done just 24,000 miles from new, and it's got one of the weirdest tailgates you've ever seen in your life. Very kindly, this car has been lent to me by Simon, who runs Langley Prestige near Chelmsford in Essex. This isn't currently for sale. It's something that he's just running around in and things. It might be though, and the prices of these are on the rise. You can probably still pick these up for under £1,000. This one though, because of the low mileage and the overall condition of it, it's going to be worth a little bit more than that. And actually, not 1,500, probably a little bit more than that too. So to get into the boot, you either use the internal release or you use the key like this, and you lift up this window here, and then you pull this little thing here. Now you can not use it because that's a heavy thing. Takes you by surprise every time. Obviously it's easy to change the rear lights in there, but you can just fold this bit back if you want to have a bit more access to your shopping and things. And I have got my shopping bag in here, just for illustration purposes. If we lift up this boot floor, we can see we've got a nice full-size spare wheel, just steel wheels on this because this is just an LSi. There is a boot light, it probably needs some turning on. There we go, excellent. It's always good to see a boot light that works. Yes, very good. If we shut that, does that mean it goes off? If we shut that, does it mean it goes off? Yes, yes it does. I'll just put that back because, the sort of person that I am. Yes. Wonderful. So let's get inside and get out of this wind noise. Got an electric sunroof in this car actually, that I'll demonstrate in a little while. It does work. Typical clear Honda instrumentation. And as you can see there, just 24,000 miles on the clock. Excuse me. 4-speed Honda automatic gearbox is used in 3 different Rovers that I've actually owned. And even one I've tested on my channel before, the 1998 Rover 416 LSi Automatic, the HHR. This gearbox as well. Obviously a D-series engine. Being an LSI, we don't get air conditioning. We do get very simple, classic kind of early 90s Japanese controls on here. That's just for the temperature. The air direction is here, and there's the fan speed. Very similar actually in concept to the old Mazda 323 that I had from 1997. I'm not going to turn the radio on, but this is a genuine Honda cassette system that does work. Got the heated rear window, fog light switches here, which is sort of similar to a Rover R8 really. It does look a bit more modern than an R8 in here, and then because this car was launched in late 1991, so it probably would do. Instruments, very sort of sporty looking. I mean, similar cluster to what would have been on the Honda CRX, which obviously is based on this platform too. There were Saloon's available, as well as this 3-door hatchback with the weird tailgate, and then the coupe, which is known as the EG4. This being a later car, we've got an airbag. The earlier ones certainly didn't get those. And we've not got electric mirrors because, well, you know, you should have paid extra for that and got an ESI. But we do have manual adjustment in the inside, which, you know, works perfectly well, and on the passenger side as well. Only got 2 electric windows. We actually got a power down switch here. I like this sort of tweed effect trim. It's very nice, very hard wearing. The EK Honda Civic that you'll see on a Planet Auto channel that I have also driven feels very similar to this, and of course the chassis of those is very similar too. Very, very long opening doors. Small little thing to put things like secret mission documents in. I'll just demonstrate with the secret mission document so you can see. I think actually as well, they won't fit in the glove box. We've got all sorts of things in here, like the original book pack and some, you know, stuff that the owner would have used for detailing stuff, but that might be big enough. You take those out. Conventional handbrake, of course, and I think we have to deactivate the alarm system on here to just get the ignition going. One thing I've been getting used to is these stalks that have a wrong way round. We won't talk about that too much. I think we're on. Yep. Let's see if this opens. Ooh, there we go. It does. Let's see if it goes back. Oh yes, fabulous. Better close that. Very good. You've even got a working clock in here. I mean, it's not showing the right time or anything, but it does work. Interesting place of a hazard switch there as well. I like it in here. Oh, that on top of there, that is straight out of a Rover HHR. Probably because the Honda Domani, in which the HHR chassis was originally based, came out in 1992. So you can, I think you can swap wheels of an HHR and a EG Civic like this. Right. I suppose I better get in the back for your entertainment only. Okay, viewers, let's see what this is like. That lever. Whoa, it's a fierce spring on that. Step inside. Just move this back. Okay, with it sort of far forward, that's okay. Actually, I've got more headroom than I thought I would. If I pulled that back a bit further, with a taller passenger in front, it wouldn't be so good, and you can't put your foot really underneath the seats too easily. There's nothing in the back. The ashtray's down there. There is a centre seat, but that's a bit optimistic, really, I think. And yeah, we've not got any headrests. I think they probably were an option. Not so safe then, but these grab handles are very familiar. Oh, yes, they use those on some Rovers as well. Seatbelt anchors are sort of down there along those runners. It's okay in here. It's actually better than I thought it would be, but it's just that I'm a little bit frightened that actually if somebody of a kind of reasonable size actually gets in, I won't have any legroom. But that's pretty good. You can even reach the lever quite easily from here, so I think I'll free myself from my self-imposed prison. Wow, good old Honda D-Series engine. Number of times I've talked about this. Wow, really reliable engine. It will run without coolant, it will run without oil. Cam belt engine, so you've got to make sure that's changed regularly. And we have a cam cover gasket leak, just like they often do. But similar rock cover to what's in an HHR, and even like the way this whole front is laid out is very similar to one of those. You've got things like similar power steering reservoir, similar washer fluid reservoir, and exactly the same bonnet structure you find on an HHR. Absolutely brilliant. Lots of parts obviously are the same. Coolant reservoir is a little bit different though, but yeah, it's but it's pretty good. The VTEC is actually a B series engine rather than a D series engine, just so you know. And we've also got a SRS warning here. But yes, it's a good, honest little engine. Oh, viewers, I am really pleased to be driving a car with the good old D series engine in it again. I do apologise if there's a bit of camera shake. This road's a little bit bumpy. Wow. Similar underneath to the R8 Rovers and the HHR Rovers in terms of chassis design, and the Honda Civic, which is what the HHR was originally based on. This is a cracking little car. The engine's available in one of these Civics, the EG, EH, EJ Civics. They've got different chassis codes. We're a 1.3 litre engine. That's a D series engine with 75 horsepower. That's a DX model. Then this is an LSi, the next step up. This is a 1.5 litre D series with 90 horsepower. Then above that, we have the ESI, and that had no, it was not 90, it's a 1.6 litre engine with 125 horsepower. There was also a 90 horsepower version of this engine that was tuned for economy, and that was called the VTEC E. It was actually both a 12 and 16 valve engine because it had variable valve timing to actually get the economy better. That means there's no diesels in the range, and so I could talk about all of the engines. The top of the range though would be the VTI, and that one, gosh, what can I say about the VTI? Oh, the VTEC system, the famous EG6, which is the chassis code for that. 150 horsepower with VTEC screaming away at the top end. Wonderful. Unfortunately, this is an EG6. There are so many different codes, and we'll go through those a little bit later, but yes, famous EG6 from Initial D. The brakes of this car work surprisingly well when a lorry comes at you very fast, almost on your side of the road. I keep putting the wipers on. Unlike in a Rover of this era, the wiper and indicator stalks have not been converted back round to the way that we prefer them. I mean, this is the way that, you know, someone like Ian Seabrook or people who like to have the indicators on the right will tell you it's the correct way, but for me, I'm not so fond of that. Anyway, let's take a break now and switch the camera around. Oh, viewers, I do like a bit of D-series action with the automatic transmission. Having owned 3 Rovers with this engine and gearbox, 1.6 litre was one I had, between 110 and 115 horsepower depending if it's in the R8 or the HHR Rover. It all sounds and seems very familiar. The way the suspension is set up in this, it's very similar to an HHR, double wishbones all round, and just generally a fantastic little car to drive. It's very easy. Visibility is quite good because the windows are are very, very large. The front's very, very low, and that's one of the consequences of having that suspension setup at the front, is you can have a nice low bonnet line, which you really just don't see that anymore in modern cars because of safety regulations. So if we go round the roundabout and up here, put my foot down, yeah, very familiar sound. It's not the nicest sounding engine ever, this D-Series. It's a little bit flat sounding perhaps, but I like it anyway. I do apologise for the bouncing away, it's just the way it goes on no budget reviews. Rivals this car would have had, well, it's difficult to say because this car's in a very funny position where it was the smallest Honda model sold in Britain at the time anyway, and it's somewhere between a sort of Mark III Golf and a Mark III Polo in size. It's not quite as big as a Mark III Golf, but it's not as small as a Mark III Polo, it's somewhere in between. Certainly the saloons feel a little bit bigger, but these were reasonably expensive cars when they were new. They weren't cheap, but even then people just really, really liked the quality of them, and certainly I do as well. I think I'd go for an ESi possibly myself, because it has, you know, things like alloy wheels on it. This doesn't have alloy wheels, and those wheel trims are a bit curved because this car lived in London for an awful lot of its life. The interior is really nice, but the exterior has, you know, one or two marks on it, and don't know if Simon's planning on, you know, touching those up or something. But yes, nice and fluid to drive, just nice, proper, hydraulically assisted direct steering, just like in an HHR. With the lowest center of gravity this car has, and it's quite a low car, this probably drives actually in some ways better. The ride is a little bit on the firm side, but then it always was. That's the way that Japanese cars always were set up. But it's just incredibly easy to waft along in. Or, you know, if you had the screaming fire-breathing VTEC unit with 150 horsepower with the B-Series engine, then you'd be very, very happy indeed. And I'm happy enough. Just about, oh yes, that's good. It's not the most feelsome steering. I mean, if you drive something like a Ford Capri, then that would be better. But considering we're having this car on no budget reviews, although this is a very, very good example, and you can't quite buy them for the money that we normally talk about in this condition, just astonishing. You can see why the original owner of this car kept it for so many years. Just brilliant. I think it's time to look at some Honda Civic chassis codes. So this generation of Civic was known as the EG, EH, or the EJ, depending on the body style and various other factors. I'm only going to be talking about the European Civics here, because the ones in the USA and rest of the world and Japan were very different. So the EG3 was the DX trim level with a 1.3 engine. The EG4, EG8, which was the saloon, EJ2, which was the coupe, or the LSi trim with a 1.5 90 horsepower engine. The VEI, which is VTEC E, that was also called an EG4 with a 1.5 90 horsepower engine, but the VTEC E version. The ESi, that was called an EG5, whether that was a saloon or a hatchback for some reason. With the VTI, the B-Series engine, 150 horsepower, that was the EG6, which is a hatch like this, or the EG9 if it was a saloon. It's all terribly, terribly confusing. Well, should you buy an EJ series Honda Civic? Well, yes, frankly. It's got loads of little idiosyncrasies. You've got to get used to the indicator stalk on the right hand side, and this isn't probably the most desirable version. It's a LSi with a 1.5 engine and an automatic gearbox, but the manual's fantastic, and actually these are very, very good automatic units as well. The car will probably just go up in value. They already are actually, and although these do suffer from rust, you've got to change that timing belt in the engine. You've got to make sure your cam cover gas is not leaking too much. This is a very, very good car. Rides a little bit on the firm side, but that's generally a Honda trait for years and years, and these just seem to go on. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below. I've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and also Instagram, instagram.com/Lloyd_vehicle_consulting. Thank you.